How do you feel about paying more for things?
Well, if you find someone who says, I'm happy about paying more for something, you point them out to me. People who already couldn't afford fresh vegetables, who couldn't already afford to put good food on their plate, are the ones that are really going to be hurt by this.
Did you ever think that when you voted for President Trump that things were going to cost you more and you're going to lose money?
I never thought I was going to lose this much money, this fast.
Jim is a Republican who voted for Donald Trump 3 times.
How do you feel about your vote for Donald Trump now?
Well, I feel like perhaps I should have considered some other options.
Among other things, Jim imports packaging supplies for his honey, so he's paying real close attention to the tariffs Trump just put in place.
We just bought our year's supply of bottles from Taiwan and our year's supply of corks from Portugal about 3 weeks ago. So that would have been, another $5,000 or $6,000 out of my pocket.
Which is partly why he's repairing instead of replacing this 40-year-old forklift.
The cost of equipment has just gone through the roof to buy anything like that because it just would be cost prohibitive.
He's also holding off on improvements around the farm.
Well, we're not going to hire any more people, that's for sure.
It's more than just the tariffs. For the past 2 years, Jim has been selling honey to the federal government, which then provides it to schools and food banks. But after Donald Trump took office, the USDA cut those programs suddenly as part of the federal government's effort to streamline spending.
I have a simple message in this video, and that is screw the farmers. Am I allowed to say that? Is that politically incorrect? Well, I don't much care. This is a free speech channel, and I am granting myself permission to say whatever the hell I want. And what I want to say today is screw the farmers. Not all farmers, but the farmers who voted for Donald Trump. And unfortunately, we know for a fact that the overwhelming majority of farmers in this country did vote for Donald Trump. And they deserve to get everything that they voted for. All the negative consequences that are coming their way, they deserve to get all of them. Donald Trump and his tariffs are going to hurt farmers big time. The truth is, the people who supported Donald Trump, by and large, are going to be hurt by Donald Trump's policies far more than the people who did not vote for Trump. And farmers are no exception. In the first Trump administration, he slapped massive tariffs on China. And of course, they responded, slapping massive tariffs on our products, specifically agricultural products. And farmers really took it on the chin, lost billions of dollars. And what did Donald Trump do? Well, he was running for re-election, didn't want to lose support from farmers. So he bailed them out with our tax money. We bailed them out. We bailed out the farmers for their losses. Sounds like socialism, doesn't it? Anyway, that's happening again in this term, and it's going to happen to a much greater extent in this term. And farmers are already talking about wanting a bailout. Well, screw that. No bailouts for these people. They voted for this. They deserve to suffer the consequences of what they voted for. They effed around, and they deserve to find out. So no, farmers, no socialism for you. I know most of you sit on your couches at night at the end of the day with Fox News blaring throughout the house. And you sit there and you rail against socialism. What's socialism? I'm sure most of those farmers couldn't explain to you what socialism is. It's basically anything Fox News tells them it is, and anything that they're opposed to is just socialism. Well, you know what? Might I suggest that you wanting bailouts is socialism. So I know you love socialism, farmers. You loved it in the first Trump administration, and you're demanding it now. But screw that, and screw you. No bailout.
Sparkles fam, welcome back to Sparkles Show, the satirical sanctuary where reality takes the stage and drama walks the runway in slow motion. If you're new here, hi, hello, and welcome to the circus. And to our returning Sparkle squad, you already know the vibes. Y'all keep this glittering train rolling. Before we dive headfirst into this haystack of drama, don't forget to hit that like button with the force of a tractor going downhill. Smash that subscribe, drop your thoughts in the comments, because yes, I do read everyone. And today's story, oh honey, It's giving Tractors in Tears, the MAGA Farm Chronicles, and of course, massive appreciation to the originators and stitches of the video clips that inspired this commentary. Y'all are the real MVPs of the meme economy and the silent curators of chaos. Without much ado, let's dive into the rest of the video, and we will be back for more commentary.
American workers and American taxpayers have been taken advantage of for multi-generation, for decades. And it's time for somebody to stand up and put us first and put the country first and do what's best for the country, not what's best for the politicians.
Even if you as a farmer suffer.
That's right.
I mean, some people would hear that and be quite surprised that you're prepared to put your livelihood, your family's livelihood, on the line for the sake of politics.
Well, that's my duty as for being the head of my household. I've got to do what I got to do, what's going to be better for the future, better for the kids. It's not about today. It's about the long term. The long game is where the rewards are going to be.
But don't the price of tariffs and what happens in commodity markets like soybean, doesn't that affect you in the short term and affect your ability to provide for your family?
Look, tariffs will probably have a detrimental effect on soybean price in the near future. In the long term, it'll probably work out. I'm a farmer. I deal with bad weather. I deal with dry weather. I deal with torrential rains. We deal with hurricanes. What's a tariff going to do? You know, I got to raise a crop. If I was worried, I'd stay home and not raise a crop. If I was worried about it, I still got to get out there and raise my crop to get the price. If you don't get the yield, it doesn't make any difference. You know, I got to deal with all these other things. What's a tariff? I can't control that, so it is what it is.
Well, another day and another story about the people who voted for Donald Trump absolutely terrified that Trump is going to do what he promised to do. Now, yesterday, I talked about the teachers, superintendents who voted for Trump, and then now they're shocked that he is going to cut the Department of Education possibly, or at the very least cut funding to it, and they're worried they're going to lose their jobs. Today, once again, it's the farmers. Now, we have already talked multiple times over the last few months at this point about farmers across the country who voted for Trump, panicking that his mass deportation plans are going to devastate their farms, which would then devastate the food supply here in the United States. This is an issue that will, of course, affect everybody. Doesn't matter your income level. This is kind of a big deal. And now Bloomberg actually went out and talked to several Trump voting farmers down here in the South, and they voted for Trump. They like Trump. We're terrified of what Trump is going to do to our businesses. In an interview with Bloomberg, tomato grower Tony DeMare said that it would be a major mistake for Trump to institute the kind of crackdown on undocumented farm labor that has been enacted in Florida, where he says he's having trouble finding people to pick crops.
A lot of people effed around, and now they're finding out. And no group of people is going to find out more quickly than farmers, because they're really going to get screwed. With the cutting of this USAID program, they're really going to get hit hard, because what was that program, or is that program, that is not being operated as it's supposed to be because of Donald Trump giving complete control of the federal government to the billionaire who bought him, Elon Musk. Anyways, what was the purpose of that? The purpose was to provide humanitarian relief around the world. And a big part of that was providing food to desperate people around the world. And what we did through that program is purchase a lot of agricultural products produced by American farmers and then distribute those products around the world. Now that money is being withheld illegally, but it's being withheld, and farmers are not getting paid, and their products, their agricultural products, are no longer being purchased by the federal government. I saw a guy, you've probably seen this, it's gone viral, some MAGA farmer complaining about how all these contracts he had to sell hundreds of thousands of dollars of agricultural products to the federal government, that's all being cut now. And he's out hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he specifically starts the video by saying he voted for Donald Trump. And he doesn't take that back, by the way. Apparently, he's still a Trump supporter. And then he goes on to explain how all of these contracts, all this money he was getting, was through the Inflation Reduction Act passed by Joe Biden. And so he's benefiting greatly from Joe Biden's policies. So what does he do? He votes for Donald Trump. Donald Trump promptly kills all of that.
Welcome back to the show. So, picture this. Endless golden fields of corn, wheat, soybeans, land as far as the eye can see. And now picture foreclosure signs, auction notices, and heartbreak over hot coffee in a chilly barn. We are deep in FAFO territory, folks. Across America's heartland, MAGA supporting farmers, many of whom proudly rocked the red cap, flew the flag, and cast their votes with confidence, are now looking around like, wait a minute, who ordered this economic collapse casserole? Tariffs, those spicy little economic weapons used in trade wars, have come home to roost. And unfortunately, they're not laying golden eggs. We're seeing bankruptcy filings, farm auctions that look more like family funerals. And it's not just numbers. These are families that have farmed for generations, watching their legacy get plowed under by policies they once cheered for. So let's break it down with a little satire and a sprinkle of facts. The Trump administration implemented tariffs as part of an America First trade strategy, particularly targeting China. Now, the idea was to create pressure, bring manufacturing back, protect American interests. But here's the gag. When you slap tariffs on imported goods, they slap back, usually with tariffs of their own, and often targeting U.S. exports like, you guessed it, agriculture, soybeans, blocked, corn, surplus, equipment costs, skyrocketed. The pain hit hard, and not in the way MAGA farmers expected. And now some of those same folks are looking into the camera with tears in their eyes like, we didn't think it would be us. Now here's where it gets real satirical and real human. While many farmers are publicly expressing regret, some even going viral for their emotional testimonies, there's another camp. Let's call them the faithful tractor patriots. These are the farmers saying, yes, we're losing our shirts, but it's for the country. This isn't about money. This is about America. One farmer literally said, I'd rather go broke under someone who puts America first than be rich under a politician who lies. And honestly, you've got to respect the loyalty. That's commitment. That's Stockholm Syndrome with a side of sweet tea. But it also raises a philosophical question. At what point does patriotism start costing too much? Some MAGA farmers are now feeling duped. They say they were promised prosperity, but all they got was policy whiplash. Others feel abandoned, asking why the administration they trusted didn't protect them from the fallout. One farmer said, we were told we'd be taken care of. What we got was empty promises and missed harvests. Whew. That's deeper than a drought. Some of these stories are heart-wrenching. Family land sold off to developers. Farmers forced into second jobs. Generations of work undone by a few years of global economic chess. And in true FAFO fashion, it's not the elites hurting. It's the regular folks who just wanted to believe in something that felt like it had their back. Let's take a breath. Sparkles fam, if you're still watching, drop a seed in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you feel empathy? Do you see the bigger picture? Or do you just want a cookie and some economic stability? Hit that like button, subscribe, and remember, we do this with satire and heart, not hate. Let's keep it respectful in the comments, okay? Now, let's talk about the messaging. Some farmers truly believed the tariffs were temporary pain for long-term gain, that they were pawns in a big 4D chess match against China, that America would come out stronger. The irony? China didn't blink. Instead, they turned to other countries. Brazil and Argentina said, "We got you." Meanwhile, American soy sat in silos, and farmers waited and waited and waited. But that's the cost of being in the middle of a trade war. It's like being the referee and the punching bag at the same time. Now here's the spicy part. As these regrets go viral, some voices in the community are screaming, "Told you so," but we at Sparkle's Show say, let's not gloat. This isn't just about being right. It's about asking real questions. Who actually benefits from policies like these? How do we ensure farmers aren't collateral damage? Can we really put America first if we're not protecting the people who grow our food? And perhaps the hardest question of all, will they still vote the same way next time? Because let's be honest, regret fades. But tribal loyalty? Oh, it's got roots deeper than any soybean. Let's not forget how wild this whole situation is. We've got farmers whose tractors literally have custom MAGA paint jobs now getting repossessed by banks that supported the very same policies they voted for. You can't make this up. We've got folks waving flags on one hand while signing bankruptcy paperwork with the other. It's giving dystopian heartland. It's giving I stand with the cause, but the corn don't care. And in the background, politicians with untouched assets saying, we're fighting for you. If this were a Netflix docudrama, it'd be called Traded and Betrayed, the Farm Bill Files. Not all MAGA farmers regret their vote, and that's important to note. Some are doubling down, saying they'll support anyone who takes it to the globalists or fights the deep state, even if it costs them everything. Others have switched sides, feeling betrayed, and now supporting more moderate candidates or stepping out of politics entirely. The split is real, the consequences are tangible, and the divide between loyalty and lived experience? It's growing faster than inflation. So where does this leave us? MAGA farmers in financial ruin, tariffs that backfired, political chess that sacrificed pawns, a field full of regret for some, blind loyalty for others. But more than anything, it leaves us with questions about how America treats its working class when the flags stop waving and the speeches are over. And to everyone tuning in, thank you. Whether you're here for the satire, the insight, or just to make sense of the madness, I see you. I appreciate you. I read your comments. Yes, even that one. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode of FAFO Season, Cornfield Edition. Until next time, stay sparkly and stay questioning.